The family traditions of the British royal family have always been shrouded in a veil of fascinating rules and ancient customs. This Christmas, it is expected that the whole royal team will gather together. The Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Kate, along with their 3 children, George, Charlotte, and Louis. However, things are not as straightforward as they may seem. As it turns out, the royal children are not entirely permitted to enjoy the festive dinner at the same table as their famous family. The reason behind this lies in a rather peculiar ceremonial protocol. Former royal chef to Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana, Darren McGrady, revealed in an interview with Harper's Bazaar the less romantic side of the royal family's Christmas feast. According to him, children are given their own designated space, not at the main table but in the nursery dining room. There, they eat alongside their nannies, awaiting the day they prove their mastery of table manners. The youngsters always remained in the nursery until they mastered the art of social dining, McGrady explained. Neither the Queen nor any of the other adults were ever bothered by the noise of children or the chaos of food spills during the festive meal. This is a legacy of the Victorian era. Children have their own dining world where nannies take care of them. It's like a living version of Downton Abbey. This tradition has been embraced by Princess and son-in-law, former rugby player Mike Tindall. In his podcast, The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby, he shared that there simply isn't room for children at the Grand Royal table. According to him, children find refuge at their own little table in a separate room, far from the royal conversations. Christmas dinner is a proper event. In the past, we've had 7 tables, 50 or sometimes even 70 guests. The children were always in a cozy corner with their own plates and toys. And while the young princes and princesses might dream of sitting next to Grandma the Queen or Dad at the head of the table, in reality, they partake in a more modest yet still intimate celebration. The festive residence of Sandringham becomes the epicenter of the royal family's Christmas festivities during the final weeks of the year. Relatives of all kinds gather there for important holiday events, celebrating one of the most significant royal traditions. However, as McGrady noted, this familial togetherness comes at a high cost, quite literally, for the staff. You worked all Christmas, from the 22nd of December until New Year's Day. If you wanted to spend time with your own family, you had to find another occasion for it. But the chefs and household staff weren't left out of the celebration entirely. They were treated to their own indulgences: roast turkey, chocolate, and drinks. Everyone was happy. The royal family's Christmas feast is distinguished each year by a blend of consistency and tradition. The morning would begin with the royal breakfast. According to protocol, women would often have breakfast in their rooms, while the men gathered at a shared table. This was followed by a visit to church and then a return for the grand Christmas lunch, with its centerpiece always being a roast turkey. While the side dishes varied slightly from year to year, the main accompaniments, such as sage and onion stuffing, Brussels sprouts with bacon and chestnuts, carrots, parsnips, and 2 types of potatoes, roast and mashed, remained perennial favorites. The meal concluded with a tasting of Christmas pudding, served with a luxurious brandy sauce. Thus, Christmas in royal style represents a blend of centuries-old traditions, strict protocols, and timeless glamour, where even the youngest members of the dynasty follow historic rules of the game. And looking at this, one thing becomes abundantly clear: simplicity and royal life are entirely incompatible. The centuries-old traditions of the British royal family are not solely upheld by their adherence to strict protocol, but also by their unique approach to each family member, including the youngest ones. Yet what truly happens behind the scenes of royal celebrations, once the cameras are off and the doors of Buckingham Palace or the Sandringham residence are closed? For the royal family, the festive Christmas season is not just a time for family gatherings, but also an opportunity to showcase flawless upbringing and discipline, values that are instilled almost from infancy. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and little Prince Louis may still be too young to fully grasp formal etiquette, but their training in royal manners begins at a very early age. The belief in the importance of these traditions runs so deep that even at family Christmas feasts, the children take on their own unique roles. In the royal family, nannies play an irreplaceable role, not just as caretakers, but at times as extensions or shadows of the parents themselves. They spend much of a royal child's early years by their side, guiding them through the delicate process of forming habits and character. During major events like Christmas, the responsibility of a royal nanny is immense. They not only manage the children's behavior at the table, but also help shape their understanding of what it truly means to be part of one of the world's most iconic families. It's worth noting that the placement of the youngest members of the royal family at a separate table is no arbitrary choice. Etiquette experts agree that this practice reduces stress for both children and adults. A young prince or princess needs to feel at ease, as they're not simply sitting at a holiday table. They're rehearsing their future roles within the intricate framework of royal protocol, from correctly holding a fork to engaging in poised conversations. At the same time, adults can fully enjoy their meal and conversation without being distracted by a child's whims or the need to adapt to their schedule. Interestingly, these traditions have both practical and symbolic significance. Over decades, if not centuries, a clear hierarchy has developed, where the senior members of the royal family set an example for the younger generations to follow. Hereditary princes and princesses are raised in a very different cultural context, say experts. They're taught the value of rules and their pivotal role in maintaining the authority and dignity of the monarchy from a young age. That said, one shouldn't assume that the little royals' holiday season feels like a military training camp. Despite the tight structure, their days are filled with more than just table etiquette. Strolling through snow-dusted gardens, playing with cousins, and watching family films are all cherished parts of the Christmas celebrations. In fact, royal nannies, while fulfilling their official duties, often become close friends to the children, bringing warmth and comfort to their otherwise highly organized lives. As for the festive spirit itself, the royal family is surprisingly simple in some traditions. They exchange gifts on Christmas Eve, honoring an old German custom introduced to Britain by Queen Victoria. The royal family is well known for their love of humorous and often quirky gift-giving. For instance, one year, Meghan Markle reportedly delighted Queen Elizabeth II with an unusual present, a plush hamster that the monarch found amusing and endearing. While the royal lifestyle may seem worlds apart from everyday realities, its foundation still lies in shared family moments, full of tiny joys, heartfelt surprises, and warm connections. The tradition of celebrating Christmas as a family brings the royals closer not only at the dinner table but also in their hearts. After all, even monarchy cannot override one universal truth. The joy of Christmas is for every generation.